Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chander Pandey. So in the last module we talked more about Intune requirement in terms of supported operating system and browsers as well as the network configuration requirement and bandwidth. We also talked about ways to reduce the network bandwidth uses and how to sign up for Microsoft Intune free trial app. We also configured the required setting in Admin Center portal and saw the commonly used portal in day-to-day operation and its use. Today, mainly we are going to explore Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center portal. So this is a 1000 feet overview of Admin Center portal. Now let's start exploring it. Let's start exploring Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center portal. So as you can see that right now I'm on Microsoft Admin Center homepage, and right side top I'm logged in with my account, which is Chander Pandey @Intune Demo Lab or on Microsoft.com. Okay, I can send some feedback to the Microsoft, and also Microsoft can email me about my feedback. Then I have this option. I can create a support case with Microsoft using this help and support option. Then we have a setting option. In setting option, under directory and subscription, we can see that what is the current directory we have. Domain is self, and then company name is self, and then domain is Intune Demo Lab on Microsoft.com, and then we can see that directory name is self as well as is currently active, and we can change the appearance and startup view. Right now I'm using this one, but if you like you can use blue or light. Just click on that and then apply. It's going to change it, or even if you can use a dark option also. Okay, so let me back to the Azure standard one, and you can change the height contrast theme also. If you want to change the theme, you just need to apply it, and it's going to change the theme, layout, everything. And then I'm going to pivot it back again. Then if you want to change your language of this console, you can change it from English to anyone. Okay, you need to change it to anyone and then apply it. It's going to reload your portal again, and then it will show you based on your language. In my information you can enter email ID. Okay, and then based on if there is any service or support or security issue, Microsoft is going to drop a mail on this mailbox. You can configure the sign out and notification option. By default, sign me out. When inactive is always never. You can configure it maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes based on the requirement. You can enable a pop-up notification. When there is a pop-up, you will get a notification. You can enable a directory level timeout, idle timeout. Okay, by default it's not enable it, but if you want you can enable it. Okay, coming back to the home page again. Okay, important point is that whenever at any point of time you want to move to the home page, either you can click on home button, or you can directly click on the Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center icon. Okay, and then it's going to back again to the main home page. Now in home page we are getting some basic information like the account status, the client apps. As of now this is a bare lab, so I don't have anything populated here, but when we are going to deep dive we'll see that how the things looks like in this portal. Okay, in this we can see that device compliance, device configuration, service health also. Okay, and connector status also. So if you want to check the connector status healthy or not, you just need to click on that, and it's moving to the tenant status, which is equivalent to this tenant administration node, and it's going to download. It's going to show you what all connectors you have installed, and then what is the health of that connector. Okay, it's taking a little bit more time to load. Okay, now you can see that all the connectors whatever we configured here is okay. Now so let's talk about the dashboard. So dashboard is very interesting thing. Okay, so by default Microsoft is providing you a dashboard where we can see that device enrollment status and what and how many failures in last 7 days, a device compliance, and create a compliance directly from here. Also you can configure device configuration also, similarly client application and app protection policies also. But if you want to create a new dashboard, you can create it from here. Either you can upload a already created dashboard, or you can use a blank dashboard. If you want to use a blank dashboard, just create a new blank dashboard, and then blank dashboard. Now it's going to create. Okay, now I'm going to add some tiles. So these are the options you want to add all, or I'm just going to select my Microsoft Intune, and then what all resources you want, whatever I want, app protection, user status for example, and I want client application. Then if I want device configuration, it's, and then I'm just giving randomly something. You can modify, customize this based on the requirement. Let's say I have this and then I want to save it. It's going to ask me the dashboard name. I have 3 dashboard. I can move from between these dashboards. I can move from here to the old dashboard. So this is very convenient when you are want to show a dashboard only for the application, or you want to show a dashboard only for your protection policy, for configuration or device enrollment status related stuff. Okay, at any point of time, if you want to delete that dashboard, you just need to click that option delete, and that's it. Okay, similarly if you want to export this existing dashboard, you can export it from here. You can download the file and then you can export it. Even you can edit it, or you can make it in a full screen. Okay, very simple, very easy to use. And okay, now let's just talk about all the services. Whatever you are able to say here is because that is by default pin by the Microsoft. That is already added in the favorites. If you don't want to, you are not managing devices, then you just need to click and this option is removed from this plate. If you want to click that one, you can, this again re-enable. So all the things are already there by default. But if you are managing the service management portal, then you can click here also, and I think that's desktop analytics is also. Yeah, so these are the 2 options which is not enabled by default: desktop analytics and surface management portal. So if you want to, if you are using these 2 portals, you are managing the device from these 2 portals, these 2 tools, then you can enable this option, or you can just add up under the pin favorite things. Now coming to all the application nodes. So as we know that Intune is also deploying the applications. So what all application we can deploy. So if you click on overview, under overview, it's going to show you what is the failure, what is how many applications are failed, or status and app protection policy. Okay, and under all apps, you are able to see all the apps available in your console, whether it's a Windows app or a iOS or a Mac or Android app, no matter. Okay, so if you want to filter an application based on the platform wise, like you only want to see the app which is related to your Windows, then you need to go to the by platform option. Then if you want to select this option, then you are able to see whatever application is related to Windows. And similarly for your iOS, iPad and Mac and Android also. Okay, so now if you want to create any application, you just need to click add and then select what kind of application you want to create. You can create a store apps for Android store apps, iOS store apps, App Store, Microsoft Store apps, and then Google Play apps. You can create a Microsoft 365 app for Windows 10 and Mac. You can create a Edge version 77 or later for Windows and Mac, as well as a Microsoft Defender for endpoint for Mac devices, as well as some web apps. Okay, if you want to create let's say other apps is Win32 apps, you just need to click on Win32 app, and then it's going to ask you the required information, and that's going to create that app. So for Win32 application, you need a special extension Intune Win32 in a Intune Win32 format. I don't have right now, so I'm not going to create anything. But if you have, then you just need to click here, add it, and then create package program, and then finish. So we're going to discuss everything this app creation in a separate module. For now, I'm just giving you a brief idea how to create apps in this. Let's say if you want to create a line of business apps. So you just need to click line of business apps and just need to select a package. Let me see if I have anything in my download folder. Intune Master. I don't have any MSI. Basically, this is useful for MSI only. I don't have any MSI. You just need to select MSI and then it's going to create everything for you. You just need to assign it. If you can see that the options are very limited here. Okay. Similarly, if you want to deploy other apps like store apps and other apps, then you need to first configure these things. Like for Android app management, you need to configure it. Okay, so let me show you. If you want to enable Android app, okay, then you need to configure it. So you are not able to see anything here because we have not configured anything for that. So for configuration part, we need to configure it under Tenant Administration, and then under Tenant Administration, and then your connectors and tokens. Okay, you can configure Microsoft Store for Business, okay, Windows, and then Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. If you want to manage Google Play, you can select it and then select it and connect it with any of your Gmail account and then save it. So whatever you are going to purchase in that Microsoft Google Play stores is going to sync in your Intune portal, and from there you can deploy it. Similarly, if you want to manage Microsoft Store for Business app, you need to enable it. So we'll see in depth how to enable all these things in upcoming modules. Okay, and coming back to endpoint security. If you are a security admin guy and if you want to manage the devices from Intune, then this is a dedicated port section or blade for you. You will get everything within a single blade, and from there you can manage everything. So under this you will get all devices, whatever devices is in your this section. Device section is similar to all device section. Then you have a security baseline. Microsoft is providing best security baseline so that you can use those security baseline and deploy it as per the Microsoft recommendation. But if you want to customize it, you are free to customize it. Similarly, in the security task, let's say your security admin found some vulnerability on some application and they want you to remediate it by upgrading the operating system version. So they can create some security tasks in their security.microsoft.com portal. Okay, this is a separate portal for your security management, and then you will get a ticket, or you will get a assigned task in this section, and then you can perform the task and then you can close it. So it's a kind of task which your security admin is assigning to you, and you are performing those tasks and completing it. Then in your security admin console, they will say that what is the status of those tasks. So you can manage antivirus, you can encrypt the disk, enable the firewall, and then endpoint detection and response. You can use that attack surface reduction, account protection, device compliance, and conditional access. Under monitoring, you will get assignment failures, and then you can attach your Intune tenant with your security admin console, and whatever machines are showing in your Intune portal is automatically going to enroll in your going to register and enroll in your security admin portal. Okay, onboard, not enroll, sorry, it's onboarded in your security admin portal. Okay, Then coming back to the reporting section. Okay, let's before reporting section we'll discuss about devices. Okay, devices, and then we'll come back. Okay, so we know that Intune is going to manage your Windows devices, iOS, Androids, Mac. Okay, so that's why we have a separate section by platform. Like we have a Windows devices, so whatever Windows devices is enrolled in your Microsoft Endpoint Manager and Event Center portal, you are going to see here in this portal. Okay, and these are the by default columns available in this, but if you want to add more columns, then you are free to add more columns just by clicking there, and whatever column you want. Like I want to add model, manufacturer, serial number. Okay, and then some of the Azure AD registered or a device Azure AD device ID, management name. Okay, I just apply it, and then these options are available. And when you are going to export it, it's going to export with your custom columns. You can perform a bulk action from here. Okay, if you want to perform a bulk action, you can create. Okay, for Windows devices, you want to perform a bulk action on Windows devices, you need to select Windows devices and what kind of action you want to perform. You want to delete the device, you want to retire a device, you want to perform a autopilot reset, you want to restart it, rename and sync it. Just let's just select anything, and then it's going to select, it's going to load it, and then click next, and then you need to add the machine. You need to add the machine on which you want to perform an action, and then you're good to initiate the action on bulk devices. The only challenge with this is that you at a time you can add only 100 devices. Okay, and maximum 100 devices, and again it's not a group base, you need to add one by one. Okay, so that is the one thing. And then if you want to enroll a device, so I'm going to cover this everything in a separate section. I'm just giving 1000 over feet how the console looks like, what all options we have in this environment. Automatic enrollment we already talked about in the previous module. Okay, and then we can enable a Windows Hello for Business for secure authentication. We can validate the CNAME. If you have a domain, custom domain, you can check the custom domain here whether it's authenticated or not, validated or not. And these all settings are more or less related to your autopilot. So in the upcoming modules, I'm going to talk about more about autopilot in depth. Okay, so for now, just understand this enrollment status page is actually a step-by-step page where when you're deploying autopilot and then machine is going to perform some tasks, you can, as an admin or as an user, they can monitor what is going on in machines. Okay, at which state machine is in, whether machine is downloading the updates or downloading the application or installing the application or what stage. So enrollment status page is all about that. Then these are the new settings, co-manage settings. You can when you are managing SCCM with Intune, then you can check these settings. Now deployment profile, this is all related to your Windows autopilot, where you want to deploy hybrid AD join autopilot or Azure AD join autopilot. You need to create a profile for that, can be a Windows PC or HoloLens. If you want to perform a Windows PC, you just need to give AD and then click next, and then whatever type of deployment profile you want to. I mean, I'm going to discuss this again in depth, so I'm not going to discuss right now. This device section is for this use for autopilot. So for performing an autopilot, you need to upload a hardware hash, and when you are going to upload a hardware hash, it's going to reflect here, and whatever deployment profile you are going to create is showing, it's going to apply on this machine or the device, and then accordingly machine is going to perform the action on those devices based on your deployment profile. Coming to the Intune connector, this is required when you are going to perform a on-prem when you are going to perform a hybrid AD join autopilot, and you want to enroll a device in their on-prem environment, or a domain join the device in the on-prem environment. You need to add it, the new connector. You need to download the setup file, and you need to install in your on-prem AD connector, create some permissions, and then machine is going to deploy some configuration profiles, domains and profiles from Intune, and then while performing your hybrid edge scenario kind of autopilot, machine is going to join on-prem going to join the domain, and then so this is basically when your machine is on internet and you want to join the device in on-prem environment. So we'll talk about more in depth in an upcoming module. And so with respect to Windows, you can create a compliance policies, you can create a configuration profiles. Let's say if you want to create deploy a Wi-Fi profile or a VPN profile, or you want to create you want to deploy some CA or root CA certificate, you want to configure control panel, any kind of configuration, whatever we are doing in our on-prem environment using GPUs. Mostly all the configurations are available right now in our configuration profiles under Intune Blades. Okay, so I'm not going to cover much in this. In PowerShell scripting section, if you want to deploy any PowerShell without creating an application, then you can add a PowerShell. Okay, you just need to add a .ps1 application here, and then click next, whatever is, let's say pp, and then you need to add one PowerShell. Let me see if I have any. I think I have. Okay, I have one. I have just okay. And then it's export power firewall rule.ps1. You want to deploy that one, so you just need to click net, assign whether you want to deploy on all groups, all device, all user, and then click next. It's done. My machine is going to download the PowerShell and then perform the action accordingly. Okay, so these all three options: update ring for Windows 10 and later, feature update for Windows 10 and later, and the quality update for Windows 10 and later. These are all related to your OS patching as well as OS upgradation, feature update deployment part, where you want to deploy the latest feature upgrade on the machine. Let's say your machine is on Windows 10, you want to upgrade to Windows 11, so you can create a feature update deployment, and you can deploy on the machine. So once the machine is receiving those profiles policies, machine is going to upgrade if all the prerequisites is already in place. Okay, similarly you can create update rings for deploying the Windows patches. So every month, second Tuesday, Microsoft is releasing the patches for Windows devices. So you can create a multiple rings structure where you are start from your testing phase and then slowly move to the UAT pilot and production phase. So we will talk about again this in a depth, and coming back to under the similar options we'll get similar options is available for your Android, Mac or iOS. Let's say if you want to manage the Mac, same thing, right? Mac enrollment. So for Mac enrollment, the minimum requirement is that you need to configure a Apple MDM push notification certificate. So you need to create a certificate here also, and then you need to create a certificate in the Apple portal, and then you need to import here, and so that machine is going to communicate, your Mac device is going to communicate with Intune via push notification. Okay, then the similar way you can configure the compliance policy, configuration profiles, you can create a script also, and custom attributes. Okay, so custom attributes is something which is not by default available in the machine, on the Mac machine, and you want to create some custom attributes so that you can use in either in group, either in creating a group, or you can use in for the reporting, or for any customized any custom requirements. Okay, similarly if you want to deploy iOS, iPad, you can first you need to enroll it. Okay, similarly, I mean, this Microsoft did a good job on this. Okay, so by platform all the options are more or less similar. Okay, and then these are the enrollment, enrolled device enrollment. Okay, under device enrollment, if you want to configure the Windows enrollment, you can configure with the similar options. If you want to enable Apple enrollment, you can configure this under Apple enrollment. Similarly for Android enrollment, so enrollment also. Then we have a enrollment device limit restriction. So by default Intune is supporting up to 15 devices. Okay, for example, uh, edit limit. By default 15 devices, a user can enroll up to 50 devices. Okay, so if you want to if you know that user is going to is not going to manage more than 2 or 3 devices, and you can increase or decrease up based on your requirement. Similarly, you can create a device corporate device identifier. This is basically to I mean, in this case you can upload the CSV file, okay, and which contains IME number or serial number. This is basically for your Apple, or not Apple, Android devices, so that in Intune portal those devices are marked as a company owned devices. Under device enrollment manager, let's say by default a user can enroll 15 devices, right? But if there is a scenario where you want to configure everything on premises in your on premises environment, and then you want to hand over the device to the user, then you need a person who can manage more than 50, enroll more than 15 devices. So this is useful when you want to manage a single user is going to enroll more than 15 devices, let's say maybe 100 200, but the maximum limit of device enrollment manager is, I think, 1000 is the maximum limit. You just need to add a person who is going to manage. Let's say I have Chander is Pandey. Chander Pandey 8 Intune laptop Pro. Okay, I just added this user, and then this user can enroll more than 50 devices, and then they can perform the enrollment on multiple devices. Then we have Windows 365, which I'm not going to discuss right now. Okay, so we already talked about compliance policy. We can create a conditional access also. Okay, we'll discuss in depth in upcoming module what about related to conditional access. Then we have a configuration profiles script. We already discussed about that. Now we have group analytics. We already discussed this in previous slides. So what is group quality analytics? Let's say you have a on-premises environment, and where you are using GPO for managing the devices, and you want to migrate from your on-premises, you want to migrate from GPO to your Intune. So that so what you need to do, you need to export the GPUs from your on-premises, and then you need to import it here. Okay, once you are going to import it, it will show you whether the GPU is MDM supported or not. Based on the supported percentage, you can plan whether your all the GPUs are supported or not. If not, then what are the alternative options you need to think, so that you can manage those settings as well on the device. Okay, so that all I think that we already discussed. Okay, now other thing is the device cleanup rule. The device cleanup rule is something where you want to remove the devices from your Intune portal, right? So then you can enable it. By default it's disable, and I think maximum you can 270. Yeah, maximum you can create 270 days, meaning that if a device is not checked in within the range of 270, the machine is going to be removed automatically from your Intune portal. Okay, this scenario is this device cleanup rule is not going to applicable when you are using autopilot. Okay, in a hybrid. Also, any autopilot machine, if it is more than, if the machine is or the device is not logged in or checked in more than even more than 270 days, then this setting is not going to remove it. This is going to remove only non-autopilot devices, and this is only removing the devices from your Intune portal. You need to remove the devices from your Azure OD portal manually. Okay, then you can create a device category. Let's say I have a multiple department, and I want to segregate my devices based on the department. You can create a department category. let's say HR category. We want to create a category for HR, and then click next, and when user is going to enroll the devices, they have a option to going to enroll the Android or Mac Android devices, then they have a option to select whether this device is belongs to HR department, marketing department, finance, or IT department. Okay, so then we have a filter option. Filter is something, let's say you have a requirement to deploy application on Windows 10 devices, but you don't want to deploy application on deploy the application on Windows 11 devices. So what you can do, you can create a two filter. One is for Windows 10, one is for Windows 11, and then you can exclude the Windows 11 from Windows 10. So machine, any machine which is on 11 is not going to receive that deployment or policies. So that is about filter. Then you can create a help and support. You can create incidents, or you can check the Microsoft latest article available here. Let's say you have an you have an issue with your Intune related service, or if you are using configuration manager and like desktop analytics and endpoint analytics or tenant attach, then and you have a problem, then you can create incidents under configuration manager, even under co-management. Okay, so let's say if you want to create a incidents with co-management, you just click on co-management and it's going to load. Then it's going to ask the problem, what is your problem, what's your issue. Okay, and you just need to give some short description of your problem. Okay, Microsoft is going to provide you some suggestion, tips and all. If that is not relevant, if you want to, even if after that you want to create a ticket, you just need to proceed further and create a ticket. Okay, and then coming to the user section. Okay, so here you can create a users. You can create a user, you can delete a user. If you have a permission, if you have a rights, you can create a user. Okay, you can create a user. Okay, let's say I want to create a user, test user. I can create a test user. Okay, create a user. You can invite a user also. I want to create a test user. Okay, and then my username is test and first name is demo 1, last name is 1, and then you want to create automatically generate a password, or you want to manually generate a password. So if you want to give 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, then it's not going to pick. Okay, and then it's going to give error that your password is not complex. Okay, not compiled with the password policy. You need to give a strong password. Let me give a strong password. Okay, and then create, and then your user is now created. Will reflect. Just let me refresh it. Under notification, we will see that user created successfully. Okay, whatever notification getting here in the notification also. Let me switch to other portal and then come back. Oh, still not created. Yeah, now it's created. Okay, and if you want to deploy anything, you can just add in a group and then deploy it. Then you can check the audit logs. Okay, what is the login, related stuff, who logged in. Okay, and then sign in information also, who signed in from which locations. You can delete the users, you can reset a password of user, you can configure the user setting. Okay, so you can see the result of bulk operations. Then similarly, you can create a group also. A group is nothing but a collection of or a collection of user or a device based on a particular or based on a common attributes. Okay, so you can create a device based group or a user based group. Okay, based on the requirement. Group can be a dynamic group or a static group, meaning that you can manually add a member in that group, or you can create a dynamic condition or rule so that based on the requirement, machine or user is going to add in that group. So we will discuss that in a length. Okay, so within that we have a two option to create a group. We have a security type group and then Microsoft 365 type group. Let me create a security type and then again a test one. Okay, then you, if you want to give a description, can give a description. If you want to tie this group with any role and roles, you can enable a role, and then you can select what kind of what type of membership is for that group is. It's, if it is assigned, you need to manually add a member. If it is a dynamic user or a dynamic group, you need to create a dynamic query. Okay, let me create is for now just a member, and then I need to add a user, search a user, whatever the person. Okay, let me search with test only. Created a test one, yeah, test, and then create it and create, done. The user is now created. Sorry, group is now created, and it takes some time to populate. It's also depend upon your network speed. And okay, now group is created. If you check in the group, you can see under overview how many members are in that group. Okay, what is the properties, and then member, how many members, and all this you can check. Whether any application is assigned to that user. If you want to deploy a license on that user, you can deploy a license. Like in that case, I have one user in that group. If you want to deploy a license, let's say if you want to deploy a EMS E5 license on on this group, you can just click on that and then you can assign the license. So let me assign it. Okay, you can assign the license. So any user who's a part of this group is going to receive or going to receive this license. Okay, and they can use that license based on the functionality. Similarly, then coming to the tenant administration part, this is more related to administration node, where we can check about our connectors, about our tenant health status, about our all the configuration which is needed to manage your Intune admin center portal. Let me just give me a minute to load it, and then yeah, so now you can see my tenant name and that location of the tenant. I have Intune authority, Microsoft admin, MDM authority is always set to Microsoft Intune. Then account is active, how many licenses are assigned, what is the left license, balance license, then connector state, all the connectors which you are using in your infrastructure. What is the status of those connectors? As of now, I'm not using any connector, so that's why it's showing NA. Under service health and message center, we can check if there is any service health degradation information from Microsoft. Whatever issues or incidents Microsoft is working on it, we are able to see here in this, and you can also check the past incidents and advisory. In the same way, in the message center, Microsoft is going to populate what all the upcoming enhancement and improvement in the tools. Under remote helps, we can manage, we can enable a remote control, and then we can manage the devices remotely for troubleshooting purpose. Microsoft Tunnel Gateway, I'm not going to discuss here. And then connectors, we already talk about that. We need to enable the Microsoft Store for Business. We need to enable the Android. For Android, we need to enable a Microsoft Google Play Store. If you want to enable Microsoft Endpoint Defender for Endpoint, so that machine is going to onboard automatically in your Defender portal, you can enable from here also. Okay, similarly your certificate connector and other connectors also. Okay, then we have a filter option. We already talk about that. If you want to create a filter in advance, and then when you're deploying something, you can utilize it. You're free to create it. So in under role and responsibility, sorry, roles, we can check that how many roles are there. I think 6 to 7 roles by default role are there, but if you want to create a custom role and provide a limited access to some of the user to perform some tasks, you are free to create those custom roles and then deploy those custom roles, assign those custom roles uh, uh, on your device or user group. Similarly, Azure AD Privilege Identity Manager, uh, that is something where you can activate some roles for a shorter period of time, and then after that you need to reactivate those roles. Okay, so that is again a kind of security setting provided by things provided by the Microsoft. Then you can then it's a diagnosis setting. You can check the diagnosis setting, audit logs, and the device diagnostics and the premium add-ons. If you want to purchase any premium add-on, you are free to purchase this premium add-on. Then under end user experience, we need to customize the user experience branding. Okay, customize the company portal branding. You can customize from here. Then we have a custom notification. If you want to push any custom notification, let's say your device is not compliant and you want to push a custom notification saying that your device is not compliant, you can create a custom notification and put this. Similarly, you can create a terms and conditions so that whenever user is trying to enroll that device, they need to accept those terms and conditions. Okay. Similarly, now coming to the last portion of this, reporting. Okay, so when you're deploying anything, you can create a report, you can export a report from here. So by default there are some reports available, like under device management we have a device compliance report. You can create a device, you can download a device compliance report, how many machines are device are compliant and what is the compliance stand. That's a historical report and non-compliant device and the settings. Similarly, you can download the device configuration report. Okay, then you have a group policy analytics. If you want to check the migration of group policy analytics readiness, you can check the group analytics. Similarly, if you are deploying Windows update patches, you can check this Windows update, and then under this you have a Windows feature update report, Windows update report. These some are already in preview mode. Let's say if you are planning to migrate your operating system from X to Y or from Windows 10 to Windows 11, these two reports are very helpful, where you can check the device readiness as well as the compatibility risk associated with that report. This option, cloud attached report, is basically when you are managing your device in a co-managed environment for this is especially for Windows 10 environment, where you are managing your device from Intune as well as from configuration manager. So you can check whether co-management eligibility is there, machine is co-managed or not. If it's not co-managed, what's the reason why the machine is not co-managed? And then in this co-managed workload report, you can check the workload, patching workload is on which tool, whether it's on Intune or a SCCM tool. So you can check the workload status under co-managed report. Similarly, you can check the Microsoft Defender endpoint antivirus report. So you can check the antivirus status report and detected malware report. Similarly, for firewall, MDM status firewall report, you have a endpoint analytics. So endpoint analytics is by default not available. It's a service where you can enable it. You can deploy a productive remediation. It's going to provide you ability to proactively remediate the things before user know it. Okay, so we'll discuss this also in a separate module. Similarly, we have a data warehouse. Let's say if you want to create a report based on the historical information, you can create a report. And in that case, you need to just use this OData, and then when you're creating a report in Power BI, you can just import it. You can just use this OData URL, and then it's going to authenticate this URL, and then you're good to download the required data set, and then from there you can create a report, dashboards and all. So these Azure monitoring is basically to to create a report only kind of thing. You can use a log analytics or workbook to create a different kind of dashboard and all. And then what is left now? So desktop analytics, we are not going to discuss it because this is going to be discontinued or decommissioned very soon in the month of, I think, November or December this year. And surface management portal, we are not going to discuss right now. I think this is pretty much everything we need to know as an admin. So this is just a 1,000 feet overview of how the console looks like, moving from different sections or modules. Then we'll talk about more in each sections, and then what is the use cases and how you are going to utilize these sections. I hope this is an informative video for you. Thank you very much for watching this video.